How high will they go? Gas prices are not creeping up. They are moving up, full speed in some places. Why? Well, Congressman Darrell Issa has pointed the finger right at the White House and President Obama. Tomorrow morning, he chairs a hearing on Capitol Hill. He's chairman of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, and California Congressman Darrell Issa joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta, and thanks for having me back on. It's a clearly important subject.
So why are gas prices going up?
Well, because we're not doing anything to drive them down, and it's been that way for a number of years. We're not causing new development of new energy sources. We're trying to push back the advances being made in North Dakota and other areas. And very clearly, we're living up to Stephen Chu and President Obama's predictions and desire to get us to $8 gasoline. They said it before, and they're doing it now.
So what could be done to bring the prices down, and how quickly? Because some people drive 30, 40, 50 miles to work just one way, and of course everyone eats, so people need the trucking prices of gasoline to be reasonable so it's not passed on to food.
Well, the most important thing is for oil futures to reflect a downward trend, meaning if we've got 40% new oil and natural gas coming online in the next 2, 3, 4 years, it drives down the future markets by large amounts. That's a big benefit when prices go down simply because the expectation is for plentiful amounts. Secondly, if you have $200 billion more of federal tax revenue and $400 or $500 billion less of expenditures to out of the country, you have a huge amount of jobs created. Remember, domestic oil and natural gas production is as much about jobs here that allow people to be able to afford that drive as it is about the actual cost of the fuel.
So what exactly, with your hearings, what do you hope to establish tomorrow? What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, one of the things that we're going to feature is here up in North Dakota in the last 4 years, we've had a 1,000-fold increase in oil production. It's now over 250,000 barrels a day being produced. And yet that type of technology with what you would call lateral and advanced fracking is being driven down by every effort made by this administration. More importantly, we're going to debunk the myth that somehow oil companies sit on leases when in fact a lease is not a drilling permit. It's not an operating well. And it's the time to market that's been being pushed out more and more by moratoriums, court battles that the administration has always lost, but we've lost time. Up in Alaska, Shell lost a whole year because of an unreasonable delay created by this administration.
May I put in a special request that you look at the fact that Cuba is doing some offshore drilling about 70 miles from the United States, and we don't know whether they don't have quite the safety mechanisms that we have, and they're doing it in conjunction with Chinese rigs. Are you looking into that at all?
We are looking at it carefully because they're drilling right on the line. They're drilling as close as they can to our waters and moving back from that. And with lateral drilling, they may be drilling many miles into the U.S. But more importantly, as you said, Greta, they're not living up to global standards in all likelihood. And if they have an accident that we could and should make sure we always prevent, we're going to pay just as heavy a price with unlikely to get compensation.
And the fact is don't have diplomatic relations. They're not going to ask us for help, and we're not going to offer it, so it could be catastrophic right on our shores. So I hope that you also take a look at that. I'm going to take the last word. I'm going to take the last word on that. Thank you, Congressman.
Thanks, Greta.
A programming note, make sure to watch On the Record this Friday night. We have a special show planned for you on America's gas crisis. That's Friday night right here on The Record. And coming up,